This is the Painting Nectar Podcast, episode 89, with your host, Painting Nectar and Mr. P. And today joining us is a very special guest. So please welcome SHEISATANG. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Clap it up.
We are
Yes,
so
thank you for
excited.
having me.
Yes, we're so excited to have you. You are someone that I have been following on everything for quite a while now, and very inspired by how you just kick ass and do your thing, and you are you. And it is, I just think, the greatest thing in the whole world, honestly.
That is a very nice compliment. Thank you very much,
You're
because I
very
have
welcome.
definitely been following you since I started my OnlyFans, which was in 2020. So I think just we were on the same subs and I saw you too. So that's very nice to hear. Thank
Of
you.
course, of course. No, it's definitely been interesting navigating, Reddit world, and then navigating X world, and now we've moved on to all these platforms. And I know you're on several more platforms. I see you post like Sext Panther, things like that. So it's really awesome to see you all
Mhm.
over the place. It's good to see creators, genuine creators in this space that are wanting to be authentic and do not have a scarcity mindset and are all in for everyone. And I think that's definitely what you represent. So very excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I guess we'd like to know, you've kind of said when you started OnlyFans, what year was that again, you said?
I started in July of 2020,
Okay.
so just a couple months after the pandemic happened. Um, so yeah, that's when but I had been posting nudes on Reddit and FetLife before that. So
Right, right. That's awesome. So what made you kind of like want to dive into more of the sex work world? Or when we always talk about it, I'm like, what do we even call ourselves? Because I think it's just like a culmination of all kinds of things that we do. You can't really pinpoint it down to one thing, because I think we do give a lot to our fans, and being genuine and authentic, that does require giving a lot to your fans. So I think what we do is a whole lot more than that. But what was it that kind of like motivated you to get started in that?
um, so I had always really liked facials, and then
Let's clap it up for
Yeah.
I was posting
facials.
them online.
Facials. Yes, we love facials.
We love
Yes,
facials.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's for
Um,
the podcast.
so I started dating my ex in November 2019, and then throughout the beginning of our relationship, we had I told him I like posting nudes and stuff like that. He's like, we should make porn. I was like, oh, okay. So that's just kind of how it happened. And obviously the pandemic, I actually had 3 jobs during the pandemic, including my
Wow.
OnlyFans. So I just added that onto it. It just kind of happened, and it really went places I did not imagine.
Isn't that crazy? I think that's exactly how, that things got started for us, the pandemic. I was working in a gym at the time. So you know how that went. All gyms were closed. And so it was fun to post. And all of a sudden, like, we were getting tons of views. And I'm like, I cannot believe that this many are sitting here watching. I think one of them was like a blowjob or a facial or something like that as well. That did so good. That's so wild, thinking that people, because we just feel like it's just like a regular video to us. Like, it's just a regular video with our partner. We don't expect a lot of people to be as into it. I guess in my mind at the time I didn't. So
Yeah, and I started advertising on Instagram because I only had maybe 5,000 followers, and I was already posting sexy pictures on there, and I got my first 100 subs from
oh
Instagram,
Wow.
wow.
and then I had to figure out how to navigate Reddit. And
Oh,
Which we're all still
and
trying to figure out.
my
yeah.
I'm still, which I can get into later
Okay.
about
Yeah.
the politics of Reddit
Yeah.
Oh my
specifically.
God.
Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, and then I got my first viral post on Cum Sluts. It was just a facial picture, and it got so much traction. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm figuring it out. And so I just kept hitting it. And I was going hard the first year with advertising on Reddit. or just posting. And that was what made me
Right.
excel for my OnlyFans.
Right. That's
So
awesome.
was Tang, was the first time you created the She Is a Tang account, was that on Reddit? Or was that kind of the first
Yes,
time the
it was.
debut of She Is a Tang?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I made my OnlyFans, and then I made the She Is a Tang handle for Reddit.
Gotcha.
Um, So, and I'd had facial pictures on there on my ex's account, and I had to text him and be like, take my facial pictures down because I'm gonna have my own account now.
Yes. Yes.
So people had already seen me before my OnlyFans because the photos my ex would put before I did my OnlyFans, that ex, he one of our pictures went completely insane on
Oh,
there,
wow.
like 14,000 upvotes.
Jeez.
And that was before I even considered making porn. That was like 2 years before
Oh,
that.
wow.
It's
So
like, you're famous.
so I was already up there.
Yeah, people were waiting for it. They're like, "Please bust it out for us."
And that photo is one of my most stolen photos of all time.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Like to this day, I'll still see it. But anyways, so yeah, that's how She Is a Tang started. I just was like, my nickname was already Tang, but I was like, this is an interesting
Yeah.
handle, and then
Well,
that's
I think on Reddit or somewhere I had asked you that, like, where does that name come from? Like, it's a very unique, interesting name, and I think you told me that. You're like, "Oh, my friends just kind of call me Tang already." So, it was just natural to add that to the handle, and I think She Is a Tang is, like, such a unique, fun what I think it makes people wonder, like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
yeah.
It's awesome. So you were saying that you went through a breakup, and that was something that I definitely noticed. I think on X, you kind of shared with a lot of your followers on there the personal things you were kind of going through, and I really admired you being so vulnerable because you really don't see that with a lot of creators. You don't. There's several creators that I know that like their fans don't even know about their lives or what's going on in their lives,
Yeah.
and I think that was very honorable and like very vulnerable of you to share with your fans like what you were going through and that kind of transition that you were going through because I think it's just important for other people to see that like we're humans too. Like as much as we
Yeah.
love taking facials all the
Yeah.
time, we're also
Yeah.
humans and we go through stuff and fucking life hits us sometimes. And I think one thing that was really cool was to see you like totally go from like where do I go from here to like now all I see all the time is like you killing it. You're always doing I know recently I saw some of your threesome stuff and the facials obviously is a big thing and I just think it's so cool
Yeah.
that you were able to come through something like that because a lot of my fans they message and they're like, "Oh, I'm single. I'm never going to have fun. I'm never going to live
Yeah.
this kind of life that you or these other creators that I see are living." And I think you're a great example of like, no, you can do whatever the fuck you want in life. Like, just got to do it.
Yeah. And honestly, that was the past 6 months has been some of the hardest times I've had,
Hmm.
just being completely honest,
Yeah.
like mentally after that breakup, because I started my OnlyFans with my
Mm.
ex and I grew it with him, and he was the person I did that with, and some of my best content that I believe,
Hmm.
but I think that's coming from a place of still dealing with that breakup. Um, like some of my favorite content is with him,
Hmm.
some of my biggest facials, and like part of me misses so much about that, but I didn't have a choice.
Hmm.
I started this career and I wasn't going to stop.
Right.
So I had to find other penises.
Which I'm sure was not very difficult to do for you. I think I saw one of the, there was a threesome, a facial threesome that you did with this couple, and she was a beautiful girl. She had curly hair. I don't remember what her name was.
Yeah, Freckle Lemonade
Yes, 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 yes. So that
and Daddy Lemonade.
yes, that interaction that you had with them, that was so awesome to see. I think that was like such a fun thing, such a fun video. I watched those videos. That couple looked like a really awesome couple. So I think that was really cool sharing that.
Yeah, I've done three videos with them,
Mhm.
and then I've worked separately with Daddy Lemonade, like 4 times. So he reached out to me to work with me back when I was still with my ex. I was doing collabs when I was with my ex
Mhm.
still. Like that was what we had to do.
Right.
And Daddy Lemonade reached out to me and I was like, sure, if you go get a full test, full panel, sign all the paperwork and give me copies of your ID, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And they already had an OnlyFans, but they were a little bit smaller. And then they were like, you were our first collab we've ever done. That was in like 2022 or
Oh,
something, or
wow.
2021. So I have a very close relationship with them. So it's really nice to work with couples because I'm a good addition to add in there.
Right.
Um, and it's fun for everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna say your genuine interaction during that, like you could tell you guys were all having so much fun. And I think that's so important to see in our space because a lot of the times we just see people like, Kate on here told a story about how like this girl did a video with her and like she was kind of really into the girl and then come to find out the girl was like, oh, I just wanted to make this video, like let's just do these videos. And like that was such a turn off for her. And I can imagine like kind of being attracted to someone and like wanting it to be natural and wanting it to flow. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're just doing it for content. So that definitely showed
Yeah.
through y'all's video. It looked like you guys had an awesome time and that you actually had kind of like a friendship, like a connection. It definitely showed through the video.
Yeah, and it's actually incredibly hard to have friendships in this industry if you're not like part of a clique.
Right.
And like, so I call Freckle Lemonade when I'm having a hard time as a sex worker. I'm like, girl, I need advice.
Yeah.
Like, you are I have like 2 girlfriends who are sex workers that I can call anytime. So it's really important to me for the people I do work with, if it's not just a one-off,
Hmm.
that I have some sort of friendship with them. Because otherwise, it's just, what's the
Right.
point for
Right.
me? Like,
Right.
yeah.
So what is one thing that you kind of look for when you are wanting to collab or make content with somebody? What is something that you kind of look for? Is there certain markers you kind of try to meet? Are you looking for people that you're, attracted to? Do most of these people come to you? We don't do a whole lot of collabs. So it's nice to kind of hear details a little bit about how people go about that.
So for me, some people have reached out to me and I've reached out to others, but if I'm reaching out, it's because they have big loads and I see that. That's just, I honestly don't necessarily care what they look
Yeah.
like because it's POV.
Yeah.
And so like,
As long as you can
and
roast it.
I'm just trying to get the
Yeah.
facial. Like that's just,
Every guy listening right
I
now
work with,
wondering how big
that's
their load is.
and I have to be pretty like specific. Like I need you to withhold. If you're gonna shoot with me, it has to be like 3 to 4 days. Like this is my main point of focus
Right.
in my content. And if they're already a creator that has large loads, then they understand.
Right.
I also do work with non-creators who maybe they'll message me on Twitter or FetLife. Those are 2 places I have found people to work with that are not creators at all. They don't have platforms. And if I'm attracted to them and we have a video call, and maybe they have some videos already on their pages just for fun, and I can see they have a nice dick,
Mhm.
they have big loads, can they stay hard?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I've had some success with non-creators. It's not something I like to do very often because of who I am,
Yeah.
and it can be, a safety
Right.
issue. Um, but I just am like, will you get tested? Will you sign the paperwork? Great, let's do
Yeah.
this. I'll be in your town at this time. Come to my Airbnb.
Yeah.
So,
That's definitely I think people wonder too, like I know we see it in the space obviously, but like testing is a big deal, making sure that you're clean for the people or person that you're going to be with. Huge deal. I think maybe sometimes people, especially in my personal life, they're like, oh, y'all are just having orgy parties all the time and inviting whoever and just like, what, like this nasty stuff. And it's like, no, people in this space genuinely care about health, sexual
Yeah.
health, and they get
yeah.
tested. They make
Yeah.
sure that they're protecting others and protecting themselves. And I think that's a really important thing to do. and to even
Yeah.
share awareness of in this space, you know?
And let me tell you, dating at who I like being who I am and being in the industry and trying to date like civilian people and having to explain to them, I need you to get tested before we hook up. I have a job.
Right.
Also, just for our safety, I need you to go get tested. And I'll get tested too. I'll go every 2 weeks. Sometimes I'll go weekly if I'm doing a lot of
Right.
shoots. Like this is just what I have to
Right.
do. So
Yeah.
Tang, so I know there's guys listening right now and they're thinking to themselves, man, my girlfriend or my wife, she freaking hates facials. Like, why? How did somebody get so lucky to be with a woman that loves facials? So, what, from, of course, guys, I think most of us, we really enjoy giving facials. But what is it for you what's the allure to a facial for you?
well, I just think it's so aesthetically like pleasing
Mhm.
seeing it on my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess the act of like knowing I made that person come on my face and how I it's weird. I get asked that all the time and I'm like, I don't know, I just like come on my face. I think it's hot
Right.
Yeah.
and it's fun to take pictures of and like all the partners I've had, they love giving facials. So like it's just been this way now.
Right.
Works out. I saw a post you posted on X recently within the past day or two or three. I don't know. It was like a POV, like you were doing a selfie video and you just had like cum on your face and you're just wiping it all over your face. I was like, this is
He's like,
awesome.
yes. Thank you for
It's
that.
like, yeah, look, I'm like, she's really fucking into this. This is amazing. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, I just think it looks really hot. And at this point, I'm like, that's just my thing.
Yeah.
Well, your
So
skin looks wonderful. I think that
Must
that
be.
must play a great part of that. Your skin's so smooth and great.
thank
I
you.
definitely think there's something, when it comes to blowjobs, I think that's something that people comment a lot on my videos. Also is like, dang, you look like you're really enjoying it. And like, I genuinely do enjoy it. I like what you said, the feeling of like knowing that you're making them come. That is like a hot thing. That's like, okay, goal, make them come. So
Yeah,
do what you gotta do. And that to me turns me on. I love like blowjobs all day long because of that reason.
same.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, a lot of my content is strictly blowjobs, and I do titty fucking a lot too. But blowjobs it's like cum and blowjobs are my main fetish, and you know, I just love sucking dick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just genuinely enjoy it and I have always enjoyed it since the beginning of my sexual exploration in life.
Yeah.
Um but when I like turned 27, that's when my sexual liberation was and like when I finally was like coming into my own and I was like I love this. This is like the I love this so
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
And I've gained so many skills with my mouth. So
We see the talent.
Yes,
We see the
yes.
talent.
That's great. So do you find that people are more into the facials than they are the titty fucking? Is that something that you find?
um at this point it's kind of split now
Mhm.
for me on my OnlyFans and my pages, you know, if I'm going off say Reddit, the titty fucking is doing way better than the facials.
Really?
If I go off, yeah, it's actually kind of
That's
crazy,
interesting.
but I think that also has to do with the saturation on Reddit. Um, and then on my OnlyFans, I mean, people like both.
Mhm.
They want both things. They want the blowjob, titty fucking, and the facial in the end. They want all
I
of it.
think especially because you do the POV, so it's kind of nice to like picture that they're the one that's sitting there giving you that big load. So I think that's what people find hot a lot of the times too. I had a
Yeah.
guy schedule a video call with me today and he's like, "Oh, I'm a tit guy." And I'm like, "Well,
Go
wrong
talk to Tang.
wrong creator." Yeah. He was like, "No, it's okay. Work with what you got." I was like, "Okay, as long as you're okay with that, but definitely not your girl." That's great.
And so, she mentioned that people think that oftentimes that we're just out doing all this crazy stuff, and like the reality is, and this is nothing against people that are doing doing their
Yeah.
thing, whatever, having orgies, whatever, each to their own, but that's just not what we do. And but a lot of people don't really understand what we do, and I think this may pertain to you and most of the people in our space. It's like, part of it's like the part sex worker and part putting that sexy stuff out there. But as good as anybody, I'm sure that oftentimes you have fans that just want to vent to you sometimes and tell you about their day, and that something may have gone bad, and sometimes you play a part-time therapist, or we do, and trying to help people through
Yeah.
whatever situation it may be. And so, what's one thing that people would maybe find surprising that you do in this space that isn't seen every day? Um, is there something that would come to mind?
I mean, it's similar that I have fans that I talk to regularly, that just want to talk to
Yeah.
me. They don't even really want pictures or anything.
Mhm.
And I do that off of my OnlyFans too.
Mhm.
Like, I have a fan on Instagram. He doesn't even really subscribe to my OnlyFans anymore, but he likes every single one of my pictures. He comments on everything on Instagram. Like, he's always telling me I'm beautiful. He's like, I need a hug. And I'll just like talk to him and chat with
It's
him,
awesome.
Yeah.
and he doesn't necessarily always pay me for my time, but because it's been like 3 years
Right.
Yeah.
of like on and off him on my OnlyFans. Sometimes he Venmos me like a little bit of money. Just he's like, I like you so much. You're such a goddess. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. And he like sends me pictures of his dogs, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is
That's
nice. Like,
great.
Puppies do it every time, right?
Ah.
So yeah, I do also do a bit of the like people vent to me on OnlyFans too, like my girlfriend doesn't like this, like what
Mhm.
should I do? Or I've had people be like, you really helped me through a hard time when I was in the hospital or when I was really down. On the holidays, I'll put a post on my OnlyFans like, you're welcome to message me. You don't have to pay. Like, I'll respond to you because I don't make my fans pay to message me on
Right.
OnlyFans. So they can message me anytime. I might not always answer right away, but
Yeah.
I still take the time to respond to everyone, and I don't try and get every last penny out of them.
Sure.
Because,
Yeah.
sometimes they just want someone to talk to.
There is, I've seen a creator before. A lot of people don't know there is a setting on OnlyFans where you can turn it on, and it's somebody has to have tipped at least $1 to have messaged you. And then I've seen where
Yeah.
creators have that on, and then uh, the creator that does have it on will say, "Oh, my messages, I don't know if they're working. Like, can you please message me?" And I'm like, "Dang, that's
That's rude.
garbage." Because there are creators like you, like us, like many others we know in the space that will talk to you and, like you're saying, not try to sit here and suck you dry for every last dollar. Like, we are doing this because for me personally, I love the interaction. A lot of people think that, like, as much as our fans are helping us grow and it helps us out, I also think when I first started this, like, it was almost a confident booster for me because one thing that we don't
Yeah.
do is like, we don't do negativity. You will not see us go back and forth with anyone on either of our
Hmm.
platforms. You will not see us sit here and try. We won't do any of that. We just want positivity. We just want happiness. We just want love.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I think, that's one thing about us that you'll notice is like, it's a confident booster. It's a confidence booster for everyone when there's no negativity and there's nothing but positivity in the comments under Reddit or the comments under X. And it's just a
Yeah.
really good feeling to when you feel good and when they feel good, like everyone wins. So why would you not want that, you know?
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with like when I started just posting nudes online for free before OnlyFans and then OnlyFans is that I felt like my body was really accepted
Mhm.
because like I gained a lot of weight like over a few like 7 year period and I was bigger than I'd ever been. And like starting this journey of like posting online, I was like, okay, my body's fully accepted. And then now that I'm fully in it, like in the industry, and I've gone to events where I see women who are my size or bigger, and they're
Mhm.
so confident and everyone loves them. And I'm like, okay, this is like the place where I feel really good.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's been huge for me.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm feeling sad, just, in other parts of my life, dating or relationships. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I am very hot and 150,000 followers on Twitter. Thanks out.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's right. I totally wish that message could get out more to people because even not even with girls or with sex workers, like with the everyday person too, like a lot of guys that message me don't have that same confidence either. And I'm like, people like everything. There is not
Yeah.
like a
Yes.
box
Yes.
that only people like if you're blonde, if you're platinum blonde and you got nice tits and you have this kind of body. Like that is not the case at all. That is a
Yeah.
complete facade in the industry. There, go on Reddit and Google, look up some of the most random subreddits on
Yeah.
Reddit, and I promise you, there are people that like everything. Everybody likes something.
Yeah, and if the
Yeah.
community's
And
not
I've
there yet.
really discovered
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I think I had we've talked about this before, but I think I was what 8 months pregnant, and this dude wanted me to sit naked with my big old pregnant belly and eat powdered donuts. And it was like I was like, someone wants to pay to see me do this. This is insane. And I ate those donuts like the sexiest bitch ever too. It was so much fun
Just
too.
laughing the whole time.
I was cracking up because I could not believe. I'm like, this is like my wet dream right here, eating powdered donuts. It was great.
Super cute.
It was so much fun.
Tang, I know a lot of people. I think there's a misconception as well in this space that because people see successful people in the space who have done it for a few years and work really hard, and they get to a certain level, and I think that some people who are maybe on the outside looking in, and some people maybe even thinking about becoming creators, have the misconception that it's easy,
Mhm.
and it's like
No.
it's not, right? And I think that oftentimes we it's like we'll work 12, 16 hours a day, just
Yeah.
responding and doing making content and posting and answering DMs and so forth. um what would you give any do you have any advice that maybe you'd give some creators that are just wanting to get started? Because I think that people need to understand that, like, yes, this is one of those things that anybody can do, anybody can
Yeah.
do it, but it does take a certain level of dedication.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, first, if they were starting it now, I would be like, it is very oversaturated.
Mhm.
Uh, and you really got to have a niche. You can't just be like fucking on camera. Like, you have to have something that you do and you do
Mhm.
best.
That's a great point.
Like, that's why I like facials. That is my niche.
Mhm.
Titty fucking is my niche now. Like, the I could fuck on camera and nobody cares
Right.
because like I have a niche.
Right.
And so that is so important to make yourself stand out from all the other women or and men that are out there. Like you have to stand out now.
Mhm.
And and taking the time to seeing and also seeing what's popular right now and what you could do to be part of that.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like right now, the industry's so saturated and like you got to really stand out.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and if we're talking from a pro porn stance, you got to be a teen, looking you're 18, 19, or you got to be a MILF.
Yeah.
Like those are the
Yeah.
things. Um, so it's taking the time to really put yourself out there and realize you're gonna have to put your face all over the internet. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
or your body. I mean, there's definitely lots of faceless creators, but you have to get on every platform and start hustling.
Right.
And you gotta hustle. Like the first 2 years I did this, I was hustling.
Mhm.
I have definitely slowed down a lot, and that has to do with like mental health stuff and whatnot. But like even now, like I make sure to take at least an hour a day. I'm like, all right, I gotta make these clips, gotta edit this, gotta put the watermark on it, gotta get in these subreddits, gotta get on Twitter. Now I'm, on Sex Panther and on Instagram, and like I have like 8 platforms. So
Right.
like
Yeah.
you have to have good time management skills. You have to be able to focus and like take the time to make something quality
Right.
and something that's really going to show who you are.
Right. I definitely agree. We've talked about those things a few times, and those are a lot of the pinpoints that we hit. You have to be authentic. You've got to be willing to grind. A lot of people think that they can just post and like that will get them the views and the likes, and it is like I actually had a friend that started out doing this, and after she saw what I was doing and the podcast and things like that, and after a little while she was just like, man, I just can't, like, I'm not cut out for this. I'm just not. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that they think it's like you were saying, it's very easy. And it does.
You also have to be very thick-skinned.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be able to. I have had some of the worst comments about my body
Yeah.
on Reddit, on Twitter, and like, and even on my
Yeah.
OnlyFans. I'm like, why did you pay me to harass
Yeah.
me? Like,
Restricted.
it's like, yeah, why did you? And then they charge back for $8. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you have to be able to be like, okay, this is just one person's opinion. They don't, I don't need them to like me. I have all this other great positive validation.
Exactly.
And if you don't have that thick skin, it's not gonna happen for
Yeah,
you.
because
It's
here's
not
the
gonna work.
thing. Everyone's going to say, there is always going to be someone saying something negative. That's just the truth. There is so much hurt around the world that those kind of people
Yeah.
are looking to hurt others because they're hurting. That is just something that I've come to realize. And you see it when you see an ugly comment on Reddit. You go through that person's thing, and they've made posts about like just things happening in their
Yeah.
lives, and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
why, because you're hurting. Okay, move on. I think another thing to touch on is the no face thing. I
I was
think,
about to bring that up.
were you?
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting because like you said, you have to be very open to your face being on the internet, because here's my take on, I think doing anonymous faceless stuff is, if that's where you're comfortable staying, then absolutely be
Yeah.
in that zone. But do not expect someone to not come along and know who you are and try to use that against you. I think that
Yeah.
that's something that when you with us, one thing that we did is like, we did faceless for a while, and we still had people in our personal lives try to use that against us when they knew who we were. And that was when we were finally like, fuck this. Like,
Right.
we're just going to put our
Yeah.
face, our name. I don't care.
Right.
Like, this is who I am. This is what I do. And when you take away that leverage, when that person no longer has that leverage of like, oh, I know who you are, I'm going to email your boss and your
Right.
family, and the
Yeah.
fuck that emailed or they typed up a letter to my mom and put one of my nudes and literally mailed it to her address.
Yeah.
Several letters actually. But that
That is very
isn't
rude.
that crazy? And this was when I was 20,
Crazy, right?
23 years old, and they were mailing these things. This was someone we knew in our personal life that obviously hated us for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. But, that is the risk that you take when you do things faceless. And when you take that power away from those people. And I actually remember, this is a story that I don't think I've told ever, actually. When I first started doing this, there was a guy that had, I don't even know how we had connected, maybe Reddit or something like that. And he was saying he was willing to pay big money to be able to chat with me. And I just thought that was the best thing. I was like, oh wow, like this dude's gonna spend, we're talking money. Um,
Yeah.
and long story short, this dude ended up being a scammer. And he
Oh.
didn't scam me in any way. But when I looked up his Snapchat name, and I forget what else, I think like WhatsApp, the WhatsApp or something was what I was using to communicate with him at the time, a few years back. When I looked up his username, this person had actually tried to converse with other people. And then what he would do is he would take their photos that they would send him, and
Oh,
he would say, okay, now I have your photos. So if you don't keep in contact with me, I'm going to message so and so, or if you don't send me money, I'm going to send this to whoever. And he didn't do that to me because my face was out there and I didn't give two fucks. So I think maybe he realized it
yeah.
wasn't the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. But what you realized was that this person was trying to use this leverage and had actually scammed other people. Other people online had said like they ended up
Yeah.
paying bribe money because they said he was going to send it to their family. And I'm like,
Well, and he'd even produce like receipts showing, because his thing was
yes.
that he was going to pay PayPal, and so he would say, "Oh, I sent it," and produce like a screenshot of what looked to be a legit payment with email and transaction number and
And
everything.
not just a screenshot, like a picture of him
Oh
holding
yeah,
a sticky
Hmm.
note
yeah,
to the computer screen that had the PayPal thing on it. So like this dude was very
right.
elaborate, very, very elaborate. But that just goes to show when you give those people that leverage, that's what they can do. Someone recently, one of my friends, this random ass guy, I don't even know how, but he ended up messaging her work. Luckily, her work said we don't really give a shit. But and then she's like, "Well, my mom was a slut, so she shouldn't be surprised that I'm one too." And we were laughing
Yeah.
about it, but it's just one of those things. Like when you do anonymous, that's the risk that you take. People now have leverage over you.
Yeah, and also the threatening period. I mean, even though my face is all over there, I get people try and threaten me online with like, "Oh, I have 90 gigabytes of all your stolen content. If you don't do this thing I want you to, I'm not going to tell you where it is." I'm like, "Okay, little do you know, I literally have a hacker who removes all of my stuff for me." And so I'll just screenshot his stuff. I'll send it to the dude, and the dude will get him banned from
Yeah,
everywhere. Like, don't mess with me
yeah.
either.
And I'm going to continue to
Like,
making content, so go ahead and keep it if you want. Like, and that's crazy.
this is just the nature of this business too, is that your stuff is going to get stolen. It's just
Yeah,
I have services I pay a bunch of money for to remove my content, but there's always people who don't comply.
Right.
So like, yeah, I'm sure there's places, but you know what? Those people are never going to pay for content. So
that's
it's like,
exactly
I don't care.
Right.
Like,
That's exactly right, and that kind of brings up a point that I was going to ask you. How does that work for you? I mean, how do you obviously you feel that it's doing you a good service to have the content removed, but we don't do that, and it's not that it's not frustrating. It's not that we don't feel like it's theft of and all that kinds of stuff, but in the back of my mind, it's like these people aren't even going to go here anyways.
Hmm.
So it's kind
yeah,
of but at the same time, probably more to your point is like these people run whole websites based off of
yeah.
stolen.
And Discord channels,
Yes,
Yeah.
Discord.
yes, yes, and so it is quite concerning that so many, and it's so easy to steal content too. I mean, you
There
just
was
download it.
there was someone on I think when I don't use Instagram much just because they just like hit me so many times. I'm just like, okay, it's not even worth my
Yeah,
time. But when I was using it, there would be multiple accounts that would pop up, and the thing that I didn't want to happen was my I would go and see my followers were all following these pages. So I'm
Yeah,
like, no, you guys, no, no, no. Like this, I don't have any of these accounts. This is the one account that I have. And the same person that had created a Instagram, alt Instagram account with my name, Panty Nectar. They then went on Facebook and used my photos under an account named like Janika something. I don't even remember. But
you look like a Janika.
do I? Right? But I had like reported the page so many times, and Facebook was like, no, we don't see anything wrong with it. We don't see anything. But these people were literally every post was asking for money. Oh, buy me this. Oh,
yeah,
hey, look this. Hey, look this. And I'm like, man, you're scamming people. Like that is what I'm not
Yeah,
okay with is the scamming people.
yeah. I've had somebody stole my pictures and was messaging other creators,
Oh my God.
and I had Luna. I can't remember her full name. She's another cum slut. She messaged me. She's like, "Is this your account?" I'm like,
fanatical witch.
"No." And then she's like, yeah, they're trying to talk to me as if they're you and trying to like work
Oh,
with
wow.
me. I'm like, that ain't me. And I had the account removed through my service that I do. But I actually haven't had a lot of fake accounts made of me on Instagram or
Mhm.
anywhere else. So I think the service is working.
Yeah, right.
You should
Exactly.
probably look into
Yeah.
it then. That's the
Yeah.
case. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. I remember being so frustrated, especially when I went from a free OnlyFans to my paid OnlyFans, and I found on some jank website, but one of my subscribers had actually been taking all of my stuff and been sharing it in folders on this website. And I remember like being so upset and like so defeated. Like
Yeah.
I worked so hard. Like people think that we just post and upload, and like sometimes it's watermarking and clipping and making sure it looks attractive and doing things like this. And
Yeah.
you put a lot of time and effort into that stuff, all for like someone to just upload it and put it on a random ass page for people to look at. Like it, I don't know,
And it's
kind
not
of.
just that. I mean, it's like, just like Tang, like you put most of the stuff out for free anyways. It's like, are you not
Exactly.
putting enough free stuff out there for you're doing it all day? So,
Like
and then you reserve.
I'm giving you a fit. Like there's like my red gifts has hundreds of clips on it.
Right.
That's at least 2 hours worth of content. You could just go there and masturbate to my
Yes.
I
clips.
think
Yes.
Red Gift is a
Like,
great tip secret.
Yes.
There's a lot of good content that's easy to scroll through right there on Red.
yeah, but it's inevitable, and it's something I've just had to. When people threaten me, like, if you don't do this thing, I'm not gonna. I'm like, okay, bye. Like, I don't
Isn't
care.
that the best?
I'm
You're
not gonna.
like, who are you talking to right now? What's going on?
And
Like, it couldn't be
Yeah,
me. Like,
exactly.
goodbye.
I think back to what you were saying about the faceless stuff. One good point to that is don't put your nudes on the internet, even if are blurring your face out or not even including your face, and it's just neck down stuff. Don't put it on the internet if you don't want someone to find out who you are.
Yeah.
I think that's just a good
Yeah.
premise, and it's like, and the reality is it's funny because in this space, there's a lot of judgment that comes towards us, and that's okay. Like you said, we decided to do this and we understand that and not upset at all. But when
Yeah.
you start talking to people that are not in this space and you talk to them one-on-one and you tell them what you do, they're like, oh, that's cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Like, it's like, so I think like, I'm not going to say most people have posted their nudes on the internet, but I think there's a heck of a lot more people that have posted their nudes on the internet, especially anonymously, that just
Yeah.
don't talk about it,
Right.
And it's like, it's even people that don't post their nudes on the internet. It's like, well, let me go through your cell phone then. Let me go through
Yeah.
your camera roll or your wife's camera. What are y'all sending back and forth?
Or what are you sending to other people? A lot of people,
Yeah.
it's like, you don't want to
Yeah.
start with me. We
Yeah.
were laughing today because X just today decided to make everyone's likes private, so now you can no longer see what people are liking. And I was telling you today that this is going to open up a lot because now it gives people the ability to go like stuff that it is
Yeah.
human nature. It is absolutely human nature for this to happen. And it's going to be really interesting to see the next few weeks, the next few months, how that kind of changes because now people are given privacy a little bit and people act differently
Yeah.
in private than they do in public. That's for sure.
I'll tell you how old I am. I am this many years old where I remember when Instagram used to show you what people like.
That's what you were just mentioning that today. That's so
How long
funny.
ago was that? That was a while ago.
That was a long time ago, but like I remember that and I was like, that was the way I was able to stalk people I was trying to date. Now, and now I can't do that on Twitter.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh,
The world's gone to shit.
that's so funny.
Dang, so we talked a lot about the sex stuff and the sex work, which of course everyone
Mhm.
wants to do. But what's something that you enjoy doing in your personal life? Is there something like for me? I play music. I play guitar. I love it. Is there something that kind of that you can take your mind off of and do to relax?
So right now, I work out like 6 days a week. I like weightlifting a lot.
Oh yeah.
I I also before I did sex work, I worked at music festivals.
Really?
So yes, I used to
Awesome.
work for a clothing brand. I still work for the clothing brand, and I used to travel to 25 to 30 festivals a
Oh,
year,
wow.
and I would sell clothes at music festivals. So that was my life for a long
Wow.
time, and it's still part of my life. But as I've gotten older and partying is, I don't know if you know what it's like to be hungover in your 30s, but it's
I
terrible.
just turned
Uh,
40.
and then working 12 hours at a music festival with very high and drunk people.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, I love going dancing. I also travel a lot. I recently got a cat.
Oh,
So
nice.
the past 6 months, my life has changed a lot and I've definitely slowed down a lot. So I'm just right now, what's taking my mind off things is focusing on my health and my body.
Good.
I want to be stronger. I want to have more endurance, especially for titty fucking because my back be hurting.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, this is why I started lifting weights and like working out 5 to 6 days a week. So I was like, I need to be able to ride dick and titty fuck.
That's
Like
great.
my back hurts. And like I was just in Europe for three
Oh,
weeks,
wow.
and so that was amazing. So traveling is another thing I like to do with some of the free time I have. Um,
Awesome.
I just started gardening.
Oh, nice. Do you have a
Nice.
green thumb? Does everything
So
grow or?
my lemon cucumbers are popping, but my tomatoes are not.
That's great. That's great. Life for us recently, we went from living in a apartment in downtown Austin, which was wild, to now we have goats and chickens and a donkey and we've
Oh,
Yeah.
got dogs. And
Yeah.
so like
I love
Yeah.
that.
we dove headfirst into this space. But one thing that's really important to us is living the most natural life that we can and eating well. And so that's one thing that's been really fun for us. I have not dove into the gardening yet. I'm a little intimidated by it. I need to just dive into it. I was saying that the other day, but right now we've just got the goats that we love. We love milking the goats, and
It's really special. I love that a lot.
it is so
It really
amazing.
is. It surprised me how much like when we got the milk we have a mama milk goat and then she had triplets, but one of them was a little
Oh,
buckling, a boy, and then the other two are girls, but they're not old enough yet. So but the mama, she's still milking, and we had bought her from somebody up
I found her on like Facebook.
somewhere in East
yeah.
Texas somewhere, and
Yeah.
they brought the goats down, and we had never milked goats. We had never done anything like that. We didn't have like a stand, so we had to build one. And when we started doing that, it was like, man, there was like such a connection to like
Yeah.
almost like a spiritual connection in a sense of like, not like, oh my God, I'm going to heaven or anything like that. But it's like, man, like this is the way I think we're kind of supposed to be,
Yeah.
connected with
Yeah.
earth type thing, and they're providing for us. And then in turn, we take care of these animals very well and they love us. And it's a symbiotic relationship, that everybody benefits.
Yeah.
Plus the milk's fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
It's definitely that's my dream eventually is I'd like to have some sort of small piece of land or something. I live in California. It is very expensive here, so I don't know if it's gonna happen here, but I've always wanted to have a little farm and chickens and things. So
Yeah.
I love that for you guys.
It's like the best part of the morning when you go to we have a cage that's for a big pen that's for our bigger chickens, which I think we have 17 of them
17.
because we count them every evening to make sure nothing gets on.
Yeah.
And then we have 9 baby chicks that we actually bought as babies and have raised up a little bit. And so when you
Cute.
open their gates in the morning and they just flood out into the yard to go get the bugs, it's like it is literally the best thing in the world. And when we get eggs, we're like, oh, thank you, chickens. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So it is really great.
We went from getting like
It's
like
really
12 to
wonderful.
14 eggs a day to now like 2 to 4 because the chickens are laying, not in their lay boxes, and who knows? We just let
Yeah.
them run free.
Yeah, and people probably think I'm real sexy out there, but I'm in like boots. I've got sweatpants. I'm searching for a nest of eggs somewhere. It's crazy.
Dang, so what
It's great.
you mentioned music festivals, like what were they, a specific type like EDM or country or rock, or was it just kind of everything? Or did
So mostly EDM festivals, and some festivals that have EDM and jam bands and mainstream bands. Like we've done Bonnaroo, uh, Electric Forest, EDC Vegas. I actually did a show in Austin a couple years ago. I can't remember what it was called.
Mhm.
Illfest. And then yeah, a lot of EDM. They're like 3 to 6 day festivals, like how long we're there. Um, so yeah, that was my life. And before that, I worked at a veterinary hospital. So
Oh
I've had many
my gosh.
jobs.
The
I
king of
bet
all trades.
I bet people would love if you put your vet outfit on and start. I bet that is such like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
niche thing. People are all going to their vets next appointment thinking of she's great. Great.
But yeah, music festivals were wonderful, and I miss my community so much. Like that's where all my friends are, and it's now that I'm mostly home all the time now. Unless I'm going to collab, I spend a lot of time alone, and that's another part of sex work that some people might not realize is that we, if we're single, like we do spend a lot of time alone. Like
Right.
if we're not collabing, like and or I might go on dates, but anyways, so I'm going to a festival next week actually, Electric Forest. I'm going to be working from Wednesday to Monday at the festival,
Nice.
and I'll get to see all my friends I haven't seen in like almost a year.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So I'm excited and nervous, but I'm feeling real sexy. I lost 15 pounds. My titties
Nice.
are popping.
Nice. I
I'm
can
tan
see
as
that.
fuck.
Dude.
I'm
Oh,
ready
so
to
I've been staring at
go.
the screen the whole time, Tang. I haven't been looking at the camera. It's the
They're,
screen.
they're taking up the entire screen.
That's great. That's awesome though. That's really awesome. What made you like I know that you said, obviously holding up the titties, you got to work out, but like was there one thing for me specifically before I did a lot of the sex work, my community was my fitness. It is something that I had done since I was 18. It's something that's very important to me. My parents went through a really ugly divorce, and so being at the gym and like working out for me was something that like meant a lot to me. And I built my friends
Mhm.
there and my community there. And that is something that I miss a whole lot now. I miss my group of friends, my community, people that just want to like lift and get it with you and talk about
Yeah.
growth. And I'm grateful that, all these platforms, X, Reddit, OnlyFans, yada, 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 they've all given me a awesome platform to be able to put the information that I know out there. So I'm grateful. But I do miss
Yeah.
that. Was there something that made you get into working out other than that stuff? Was there like a friend that maybe motivated you or a place that maybe caught your eye that you were like, damn, I want to work out there?
I mean, I've been like working out and with personal trainers since I was like 14,
Hmm.
but this is like the most consistent I've ever worked out. Um, it was simply just the drive to change my life because I was in a not great place in
Yeah.
November.
Hmm.
And I was like, I have to change. I gained weight. I wasn't feeling good. Like, I was just like, I just want to feel better
Hmm.
and I want to be strong. Like, I want to look good. I want my thighs not to rub together. Uh, and as I'm getting older, like, I have back problems, I got knee problems, I got hip problems, neck stuff, shoulder stuff. So, like, I just want my body to be the best it can. And I'm so grateful I have the time,
Hmm.
like having an OnlyFans and that being my job, working from home, I have the time to work on my body. And that's something I'm forever grateful for because not everyone can do that.
Yes. Yes.
They can't make the time to care about themselves. So I have to be super grateful that I can do this. Um, and I post like my little journeys on Instagram, and people like, I'll see some of my friends in person. They're like, Christine, you're such a good motivation. Like, you're at the gym every day. I'm like, yes, I am.
That's awesome.
Yes, I
That's
am.
really awesome.
And you mentioned the mental health, and the you talk about last November. Apparently, that was a tough time for you, and it's important to know everybody listening. Everybody goes through tough times. It does not matter who you are,
Yeah.
right? And and
Yeah.
and oftentimes it's a struggle to pull yourself back up out of wherever that is and get back on track. But I know from personal experience, that one of the best ways to do that is through physical activity. Have you noticed an improvement in your mental health as you've become more consistent with your working out?
Yes, and some other factors, but yes, the working out has definitely helped, and it is a goal for me now, and like it makes me realize I can do anything.
Yeah.
Like, so it has improved. Getting the cat also helped too.
Yeah. Yes.
And reducing like the amount of partying I do. And, like I said, I had to make a major shift, and the working out was like, is the main catalyst. Like, if I drink and go to the gym the next day, my trainer's like, "Were you drinking last night? Because your breathing is different." I'm like,
Wow.
Yeah.
she knows.
Yeah.
She
She's on to my
knows.
yeah, she's on to me.
And then she's yelling at me when I'm crying. She's like, "You want a fat ass? You better stop complaining." So, yeah.
That's great.
She
That's
sounds like a
awesome.
drill instructor, man.
I love that. That, like, makes my
I
insides
know.
warm up. I'm like, "That's great." That's awesome.
What type of training have you been doing? Like weight training? Is that you mentioned lifting?
Yeah, I do weight training. So I lift weights at least, I don't know, I'll do a little bit of cardio and then I lift weights for like an hour.
Wow.
Um, Mostly working on my glutes right now and my chest. But yeah, I've seen since I started working out very consistently with a trainer and a plan since February, I lost the 15 pounds. My thighs are smaller, my arms are thinner and like more toned, and like my legs are just amazing.
Yeah. That's
So
one thing that I think a
it's
lot of people, like, they're like, "Oh, if I lift weights, I'm gonna look like a dude," and I'm like, "That is so far from the truth." Like, it does something to you that just makes you feel so powerful and so strong, like,
yeah.
just so incredible.
It's been amazing for me. Like I've just seeing myself be able to lift heavier and heavier. That is also a spiritual experience for me when I'm in that gym and I'm lifting with my music in my ears
Yeah.
and and there's a bunch of men standing around me. I'm like, I don't care. I'm lifting these 15-pound weights. I don't
Yeah.
care.
No,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's something that, is there I always notice a shift in my, like, my mood and my daily everything. I'm less motivated, and I'll always tell, like, I'm like, "Okay, I got to get my shit together and start being more
Yeah.
consistent and go to the gym because it is the only thing."
Yeah.
It's just something that I'm very thankful at a younger age I realized how important lifting was. And
Yeah.
it's different for everyone, but like lifting for me was so important because I had just always been I was a runner, so I was always so tiny and like so always had these injuries, and like lifting was something that made me feel
Yeah.
like a badass. And then like you're saying, just put some music, jam some music in your ear, and then every week you're lifting heavier and heavier, and you're like, I am literally a super person. I don't even know what's going on, but it makes you feel superhuman. So if that's one thing that I could definitely push to anyone listening, like if you are struggling somewhere in your life, like go lift some weights. Now don't go crazy and hurt yourself, but like get a
Yeah.
routine, get a plan, and go lift some weights. Progressive overloading. So just focus each week on getting heavier at those things if that's your goal. And man, it's just, to me, it was a lifesaver to me. It is definitely
Yeah.
something that changed the trajectory of my life. I definitely think, like, with my upbringing and with things like that, it would have been very easy for me to just like dive into alcohol and drugs and get lost in that stuff. And like fitness and lifting put me on that different path, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah, you're an entirely different person when you do and don't. When she's not in or out of the gym routine, it's like it because she goes early in the morning. She'll go like 5 a.m. or something, and so it like sets the tone for the day for her.
Hmm.
And it's like
Yeah.
I'm not like pointing blame. I'm a shithead all day, so it's like whether I do what it's like, I'm just saying in your case, it's like you're working out. It's like everything is. You're just fucking rolling, flowing with the day.
It really does something to my like my headspace too. I feel like it'll be easier for me to get frustrated if I'm not in the gym. It's harder for me to work things out and to like plan out and you know, I'm a huge procrastinator, so lifting early gets my
Yeah.
ass going, and so it makes me not be a procrastinator. And so it's definitely something that not just physically, because I like the way it makes me look. I like it, everyone on Reddit. It's so funny when I'm not lifting, I lose so much weight because what's on me is muscle, and when I don't have that,
Yeah.
I just don't hold on to anything. It's not because I'm not like
Hmm.
I'm trying to. I don't try to.
Yeah,
It's just
people will talk, you know, like the comments, you know, like
skinny bitch or something
or
like that. And I'm like,
anorexia or
yeah.
something, like eat a cheeseburger. It's like,
I'm like, first off, if y'all saw what I ate during the day, there's literally Oreos next to my butt. So thank you. But it's seriously, I will see a shift in everything and then people notice it. And it's so funny. It's like I'll try to be like, you guys, it's because I'm not lifting. That's why. That's
Yeah.
why you're not seeing that. It's because I'm not lifting. But it does everything to me, physically and mentally. It definitely helps me mentally for sure though.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
dang. So before we get out of here, what is your OnlyFans? What's your Reddit? She is a Tang, right?
Yeah, that's my name on all of my platforms, Reddit, Twitter, uh,
Only.
OnlyFans. I was like, what am I saying? Reddit, Twitter, OnlyFans, Fansly, ManyVids, and then my Instagram is Chris underscore Tang 27. But yeah, she is a Tang.
Okay.
And that's me.
She is a Tang, Tang, and
Tang
she
with a
takes
Yes.
tang.
fantastic facials all the time. She is
Yes,
the
I love cum. I love it.
facial queen. So,
Yes.
I got one today,
oh my
actually.
god,
Someone came to my house. Someone came to my house at 9:30 this morning to shoot with me. 15 minutes out the door.
That's so
Tomorrow,
great.
someone's coming to fuck me, give me a facial, and then fuck me again with the facial on camera.
That's so
So,
oh
awesome.
my
That's
god,
so
that is
cool that
amazing.
that we get to just like
Yes.
create the life that we want and do whatever
Yeah.
we want. I think that's such an empowering thing.
Well, and I think it's important to recognize too that everybody's different, right? Like just because we do this, just because we're comfortable doing this, doesn't mean that it's
yeah,
something that everybody should be doing. And we're not suggesting everybody do it, right? Like we're not being like,
yeah,
oh, you're a prude. You should be taking facials and post them on. No, it's like just live your life, and we'll live our life. We'll enjoy it.
exactly.
But just try it once.
Yeah.
I'll live my cum loving life over here. I am just fine.
Yes, yes. Well, Tang, thank you so much for joining us for an episode of the PN89
Thank you.
podcast. We had a blast. And remember, you guys can look her up on anything. She is a Tang. I'm sure if you Google it, all your stuff pops up as well. So you can find her
Yes.
anywhere. And if not, definitely reach out to us and we will help guide you that way.
And we will
So
put it in the show notes as well. So she
Yeah.
is a Tang.
awesome.
Thank you guys.
Well, thank you. And we will see you guys for another episode very soon.
Thank you, Tang. Thanks for coming
Bye.
on the show. We appreciate it.
Of course.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
See ya.